Hey garden lovers, welcome back to Yuna Garden. If you've ever dreamed of turning a tiny outdoor space into a beautiful, soul-soothing oasis without breaking the bank, you're in for a treat. In today's video, we're diving into bold and creative upcycled garden ideas that will completely transform your space. From vintage ladders to blooming bathtubs, I'll show you how to breathe new life into everyday items and make your garden truly unforgettable. Whether you're a seasoned green thumb or just starting out, these charming, resourceful ideas will inspire you to look at your garden in a whole new way. Let's get into it. Sometimes, the most unexpected items can breathe new life into a garden space. A vintage wooden ladder, often discarded or forgotten, can become a stunning vertical plant stand. Nestled in a cozy garden corner, the ladder's rungs offer perfect levels for showcasing terracotta pots filled with herbs, succulents, or trailing ivy. This vertical solution adds height and depth to a small garden, making it feel more expansive and thoughtfully designed. What makes this idea so powerful is its simplicity. With a quick sanding and a touch of weatherproof paint or sealant, the ladder becomes both practical and visually captivating. It creates a focal point, drawing the eye upward while saving valuable floor space for other garden features. From there, we move to another unexpected centerpiece that captures the imagination and invites conversation: the upcycled bathtub flower bed. In the heart of a garden, an old clawfoot bathtub becomes a whimsical flower bed brimming with vibrant wildflowers. The contrast between the vintage tub and the colorful blooms creates a dreamy, storybook atmosphere. Nestled among shrubs, or placed at the center of a gravel nook, it transforms the garden into a space where creativity and nature harmonize. Beyond its visual charm, the tub's depth makes it ideal for layering soil and accommodating a mix of shallow and deep-rooted plants. It also offers a contained, elevated bed perfect for gardeners with limited mobility. As you continue to explore repurposed ideas, even the smallest of items, like dainty teacups, can hold their own unique place in your garden's design. Tiny porcelain teacups, once part of a forgotten set, now dangle gracefully from branches or pergolas, each one cradling a small succulent or air plant. These delicate planters add a touch of vintage elegance and surprise, turning everyday items into eye-catching garden accents. They're ideal for small spaces, as they add beauty without taking up ground area. These teacup planters sway gently in the breeze, bringing motion and life to still corners of the garden. They reflect light beautifully and add a dash of whimsy, especially when hung at varying heights. From these charming touches, we step into a more rustic and grounded approach, transforming pallets into multifunctional garden walls. Weathered wooden pallets, often left behind in warehouses or yards, are a fantastic way to build structure in a garden. Mounted vertically or leaned against a fence, they serve as DIY garden walls, perfect for holding potted herbs, flowering vines, or even tools. With a little sanding and staining, these pallets exude rustic charm and practicality. Pallet walls help define zones within your garden while maintaining an open, breathable feel. They work beautifully as privacy screens, trellises, or simply as backdrops for container arrangements. Now that we've created height and structure, it's time to bring in some playful layering with a creative twist by upcycling old drawers. Old dresser drawers, once destined for the landfill, can be stacked and staggered into beautiful tiered planters. Each drawer can host a different color palette or plant variety, creating dynamic visual layers and maximizing vertical space. Their quirky angles and weathered paint add personality and warmth to the garden. This approach allows for experimentation. One level can house herbs, another trailing flowers, and yet another succulents or ground cover. The key lies in thoughtful placement and a bit of planning for drainage. As we enjoy the charm of layered beds, let's take a walk along the path and discover how even rain boots can come alive in the garden. bright rubber rain boots, filled with soil and bursting with flowers, line the garden pathway like colorful stepping stones. Whether mismatched or painted to match a theme, these playful planters add an element of fun and nostalgia. Perfect for family gardens, they offer an easy way to repurpose outgrown or leaky boots. Their tall, narrow shape makes them ideal for compact plants like pansies or petunias, and they're easy to move around as needed. They draw smiles and start conversations, proving that garden design doesn't always have to be serious. Next, we incorporate a bit of artistic structure, reimagining an old bicycle frame into a vertical garden element. An old bicycle frame, propped against a fence or nestled in a flower bed, becomes a charming trellis and artistic centerpiece. Over time, climbing plants like morning glories or sweet peas weave themselves through the spokes and handlebars, creating a living sculpture that changes with the seasons. This fusion of function and nostalgia not only recycles and used items, but also invites storytelling into the garden. The gentle curves and metal details add visual interest, encouraging viewers to pause and take a closer look. As the sun sets and shadows grow, our next idea adds a magical glow to your evening garden. There's something utterly enchanting about gardens lit with soft, warm light. Mason jars filled with tiny fairy lights or tea candles can be hung from branches or set along stone paths, casting a gentle glow as the evening sets in. This DIY lighting adds intimacy and magic, perfect for quiet reflection or hosting guests. Jars can be customized with tinted glass, twine handles, or filled with sand or stones for added texture. They create ambience while maintaining the garden's rustic charm. As twilight deepens, the garden becomes a serene retreat. And tucked into a corner, you might stumble upon the most delightful surprise, a miniature fairy garden. Broken terracotta pots, often discarded, can be repurposed into layered fairy gardens filled with moss, pebbles, and miniature plants. Their curved, broken edges become natural terraces, offering levels for tiny worlds to emerge. It's a project that invites creativity and storytelling, perfect for small hands or imaginative hearts. Each layer can include different textures, soft moss, tiny succulents, or small figurines peeking out from behind stones. These whimsical vignettes turn garden corners into magical spaces, inviting wonder and play. And for one final, majestic touch, we turn old wooden chairs into regal thrones for your blooms. An old wooden chair, with its seat removed, becomes a striking planter frame. The open space is filled with soil and flowers, spilling over like a living bouquet. Whether painted bright or left in its weathered state, the chair adds structure and vertical interest to any garden. Placed along a garden path or beside a bench, these flower thrones bring a sense of charm and history to the landscape. Each one becomes a canvas for color and creativity, concluding your upcycled garden journey with a bold and beautiful flourish. And there you have it, 10 bold and beautiful upcycled ideas to help you design a small garden oasis that's full of character, creativity, and charm. Remember, gardening doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. With a little imagination, you can turn forgotten objects into stunning features that wow your visitors and make your garden truly one of a kind. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button for more inspiring garden ideas, and leave a comment below to let me know your favorite upcycle project or share your own. Thanks for watching Yuna Garden. See you in the next one.